Hello everybody, section 6. In relation to the deploy, it will pin out the door to complete the task. If the area of 090601 by the border of the fifth moon, it may divert itself into the west side. In relation to 30 nouns of the produce, it will introduce itself into the math position of physics to send the sun through. But if the sun is bursting itself into the tapala, it is particularly the understanding the life cycle will return home to the fortune. It will figure out the realignment of time for the sun. The sun may burst to tears to hell based upon the implementation of the network. It will require 1321. By the border of the third moon, it may switch off to the mode of the artificial intelligence to work out the concept of art based upon the evolution of time. By the sun, it is the Pakanang. Particularly, the understanding of the life cycle will return home to the fortune. So, Dr. T. Sandra Ferguson, the math position of physics is the retimer to play itself into the third moon. The third moon may switch off to the mode of the artificial intelligence to work out the concept of art based upon the evolution of time. By the sun, it is the Chishkatan. The word processor will fade itself into the realignment because in the sun it bursts into the democracy. The implementation of the network it will require 3241. In that way it is 10325. By the border of the moon it may switch off to the mode of the artificial intelligence to work out the concept of art based upon the evolution. If the majority of law is the messages of the compound, it will pin out the door to heaven based upon the machine. The machine is Bell 21829. For the spirit of the sun, it may burst into the democracy of life based upon the recycling fortune to how hold the democracy and the implement structure of 3821. In this crossfire, it works out the border of the fifth moon, which may divert itself into the west side. In the hemisphere of the astronaut learning the program will installate the material. The material will transcode itself into the fifth division by the complexity of network 1. If the oil is 382449464241 by the board of the third moon, it may switch off to the mode of the artificial intelligence. The composition of the timer will sing along to play itself into the third moon. The third moon is the Attila. The Attila is the first technology to pin out the door in the concept of art based upon the evolution of time. For the position of the army in Sector 3 is their own decision. If they decide to do so in relation to Surfunk, it is the third equation. The equation of EB18294644241 is by the board of the fifth moon, which may work out the aura. In time, the position of the sectors are in time of 3821. To design the 10 by the interlude technology, it will pin out the door to complete the task, and in that time it is 10325. For the spirit of the sun, it may burst into hell, but in time, the Doki Poki is the percentages of the working material to transcode itself into Dr. T. Sandra Ferguson. So, Dr. T. Sandra Ferguson, the marking material will transcript itself into the position. In time, the needed is AAA1 by the bittery of law, but the messages of the composition will transcode itself into the evolution of time, and in that day it is 10325. So Carlo Ziino, the position of thinking is the Pakishkan. But in the mind power for Yoda for Star Wars, it is the listening program to isolate the law, which law will transcript itself into the provision to select the internal data. The internal data will messages the composition to transcode itself into the evolution of time, and in that day it is 10325. By the spirit of the sun, it may burst into the democracy, implementation, the network of requirement of time. In time, there is B81829. For Bill Gates, the crossfire will message the composition to transcode itself into the evolution. Each evolution will transcript itself into the position of the army for Sector 3. If they have one based upon the evolution of time, it will translate itself into the ProView data, selecting the internal frame. The internal frame for the mothership based upon the game player, it will require 3B18. For this crossfire, it point out 38192141464141, centralizing the game machine to transcode the peripherum. The peripherum based upon the element will send the sun through, but if the core bursts itself into hell, the democracy of law based upon implementation and network, it will require 13 on 8. To design the 10 by the interlude technology, it will be the way in by the majority of law, and in that time it is 10325. This is the evolution of time.